Hello and welcome to the segment of Daybreak Africa on Kaftan TV, and I am here today, Alanomu. Today I am with a musician. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, to start the discussion, how will you describe music?
To me, music is a food that is very important for the soul and for the spirit. That's my own simple view about music.
Okay.
Yes.
How did you begin your music career?
It has been manifesting since childhood, and when I grow into more consciousness, so I decide to develop it. But I started professionally in 2007. And since then I've been so actively functioning in music.
So how was the starting point back then?
My starting point that I can remember vividly, let me say my elementary period. That should be my secondary school days. So we formed a band, and it's just like a child play. We're not really serious with it. We sing in church. They invite us to function. We do jazz. Then I haven't even cloned or defined my own genre of music. But as time goes on, I could remember after my wife. So I decided that I want my music to reveal the beauty of African culture. I want to be singing about African culture. All those Pan-Africanism music, view, Pan-Africanism opinion.
Okay, so what inspired you to continue your music career even after all the discouraging?
Nothing discouraged me. So my purpose is not just to entertain people. So I have audience that I'm trying to reach out to. So I want to reach out to my audience. And I believe gradually, we may not be here and there or maybe blooming like a wildfire, but I believe gradually my music will reach out to its right people.
How does music impact in the life of individuals?
Yes, of course, based on some few testimonies I've got, I sing about hope, I sing about resilience, I sing about religious heresy and fallacy, and to the glory of God, I've been able to open people's mind. Particularly the people's view on our culture, the damnation, the condemnation, the demonizing placed on our culture. So, and I've been able to, make people see more than their nose through my music. People believe everything about African culture is evil. I've experienced it as well. I could remember during my elementary days, they sacked me in church even as a keyboardist. A lot of stigmatization that how would I be, tag my kind of music as African. Some people would even say I'm glorifying idols and all that. I'm certain about it that there are a lot of good side of African culture. And I've been, preaching the gospel of African culture.
Okay, as an artist, who are your targeted audience that you want your music to get to? And how do you intend to impact in them when you sit down to pen down your lyrics?
Yes, my targeted audience are Africans. Yes, Africans. Some people might not really be African by blood, but maybe by their ideology or because of their love for Africa. Because I've met with some other, we call them white, because of their body. And these people really love, they are very passionate about Africans. So my music is for them as well, but majorly my music is for Africans, particularly the Africans who have been fed with the wrong ideology, religious-wise, political-wise, spiritual-wise. So those are my targeted audience. I want to open their eyes, open their mind, Professor Wole Soyinka mentioned something in that literature, election, but that the Europeans want you to believe that everything good comes from them. So I want to tell my people that the European wasn't the one that taught us love. They were not the one that taught us the sovereignty, supremacy, and existence of God. So they want us to believe that before their inception, we were in darkness. We had all those blaspheming about Africa and their philosophy. I've always stood against that. So I don't want to tell people, even before the inception of the Westerners, the white imperialists, we've been in the consciousness of good behavior, good attitude. So we can't be talking, if you should venture into the discussion, we may not live here today. So my forefathers, my ancestors are conscious of God's existence, and they've been running their society before the inception of the white people. So these are part of my materials.
So with what you just said, I want people watching us to know the kind of music that you produce. So right now, can you give us a little freestyle of one of your songs?
Okay, let me throw this chorus. It's from my maiden album. It's titled Rawania. Though Rawania, the Islamic people call it Rawania. You know, most of Yoruba inversions was taken from Arabic.
Yes.
So our forefather says Rawania. Rawania at its stand retrieves us from suffering. You know, in those days when a barren woman gave birth to a newborn baby, they believe it is Rawania that finally showed her mercy. When they have bountiful, you know, harvest and the season of harvest in their farm, they believe it is Rawania. Every good things, they believe it is Rawania that retrieve them from their suffering, from their challenges. So, Dojo ayemi, ire ni wọ́n máa kó o. Lọ́jọ́ alẹ́ mi o, ire ni wọ́n máa rí. Torí Rawa ni ìyàwó rere, ó ti kórè ń bọ̀. Rawa ni ìyàwó, ó ti kórè dé. Mo ní ká fìbà f'Ẹlẹ́dùmarè, sábàtì ìwẹ̀yìn o. Ẹ fìbà f'Ẹlẹ́dùmarè, sábàtì rọ́jò wájú. Ire lónìí o, ire lọ́la, àní dọ́jọ́ alẹ́ gbogbo wa, ayọ̀ la ó máa rí. Dọ́jọ́ ayé mi, ire ni wọ́n máa kó o. Ọjọ́ alẹ́ mi o, ire ni wọ́n máa rí. Torí Rawa ni ìyàwó rere, ó ti kórè ń bọ̀. Rawa ni ìyàwó, ó ti kórè dé.
Right now, I'm so wild. Like, it's natural voice. You can hear that. Okay, moving on. How has the society impacted in the music industry generally?
Let me say it is the music that is impacting the society.
Okay, I want to know more about that.
Yes, of course. Either consciously or unconsciously, the kind of music we listen to is part of us. We become the kind of music we listen to. You know, most of our children, there was a man, let me say a friend, there was a senior me in anyway. So I went to greet him. One of his kids was doing like a nigger. Like 4 years, the things that little boy was doing, you know, vulgar words,
Yes.
obscene behavior. I also worry that why is your child behaving like this? Ọmọdé ni. Later I realized the kind of music he used to play for that. That's just an example, you know. They said all our youth are conscious of money and they are ready to do any kind of thing just to get the money. Even at the steps, moves that are detrimental to their neighbor, to the society, is because of the kind of the wash music that sings to glorify mundane things, you know, drugs. Let's have fun. Music is beyond that. So I would say, in my own little opinion, I believe it is music that is impacting society. You know, if
So,
we really want to.
Society is not impacted in music industry. It's now the music that is impacting on
Yes, so that is influencing.
influencing. Okay, how difficult is it making music, and what is your driving force?
The inspiration of Olodumare, the inspiration of God. If we should think about the challenges of the resources, you know, people believe it is money, you know, financial resources that is needed majorly to fund music. But it's fine. If you dwell on this fact, on this point, one could be discouraged. But one thing that keep me going, I never bargain for the little attention I've got. I'm not the kind of person that love fame, but it was God that called me into the ministry. If it is necessary for me to cross this level, it is left on God. So that's my little driving force. And it's not so difficult to make music. Your second question. It's not so difficult. If you have the potential, you have the gift, you should just, my forefathers used to say, it would be difficult for you to make music if you didn't bite more than you can chew. You're in your own little way.
So how will you describe Nigerian music industry currently?
It's doing well, and it has been doing well from the past. But to me, my own little opinion, I don't want people to get offended. Nigerian music in the past was better than this.
Like I could hear some people saying it on social media.
Nigerian music in the past. In fact, I call the musicians of the past prophets. I call them, crusaders.
Okay, so far, what has been your favorite performance or tour?
I've never been to too much tour. All my performances are cool. If I should say it, I would say the first time that I will go to Brazil, so through a medium or through a platform provided by UNESCO. So I didn't really go there to perform anyway. The performance was just a feature. And people welcomed my material, so it gives me more courage that I'm doing the right thing. But that wasn't my favorite performance. My favorite performance was 2011, October 30th of October 2011. I never knew that people would love this kind of music. When I started, people advised that I should do hip-hop, I should do classical, because they believe I have the knowledge. At a tender age, I managed to play every instrument, so they want me to do, foreign-based music. So when I told them that I'll be doing African music, inside of me, I was even wondering if people will accept the music. But at my first concert at Adigbe Mile Akure here, when they called me out to perform, I almost fainted because of the crowd, massive crowd. So that was a very memorable day. I wouldn't forget. I love that performance.
Okay, from your experience in the field of music, what do you think every musician should know when it comes to creating your own music?
The theory and basis that guides music. An author, Christopher Marlowe, says talent is never enough. I discover people rely so much on, I have the talent. Acquire skills, study. Some people have been doing it before you. Study their material, the basis. You can improvise your own, but it's good to learn, the features that is woven around that talent you think you've got. Talent is never enough. Every musician should try to study the basis and theories of music. It will make it more easier to do their thing.
And lastly, what advice do you have for all upcoming musician and artists?
I'm still an upcoming as well, so I want to advise us together. Let's advise ourselves. I've always said, if you are thinking that your target is to acquire a mansion, buy luxury car, you want to have fun, want to shop life, you might be frustrating yourself. I know a lot of musicians who are not so popular, who are not so really worthy, but they are great musicians. Till tomorrow, they remain great musicians. But in this part of the world, they believe it is the possession that you've got. Oh, it brought Rolls Royce 2023 to that concert. That's what they used to rate music. Oh, see the mansion and built. So most of our upcoming artists are running this same rat race. They want to, they want to live big. There are lots of better things you can acquire with music. So I always advise upcoming like myself, if you look up to all these modern materials, you might feel discouraged. even when God is using you to pass good message, when God have made you, you might think you are nothing because what you are looking up to. Just be doing your thing. Your fans, appreciate those little fans. I had a musician hosted a show in Arena or what. There's this big hall abroad,
Yes.
and he sold 500 tickets.
Also, yes.
A held to Arena, and his target was to sell 5,000 tickets. Because of that, he cancelled that show. That's a bad musician. You should appreciate those 500 audience that bought your ticket and perform for them. But because you want to perform like other artists to
Sold out.
massive crowd, so look at that. Look at that. I should have cherished those 500 audience. So that's my little advice.
Okay, as you have heard from my guests, don't do beyond yourself. Whatever you know that you are capable of doing, just be yourself and do yourself. Thank you, and that will be all for the show on the show for today. Join us next time, and I am Yetunde Alanum. Bye.